incredible 12-year-old blind boy's life-changing song revealed unexpected talent, touching every heart in rural Illinois. Ethan had always been different, but on that summer day, the air felt electric with possibility. Everyone in town whispered about the upcoming talent show, but only he could hear the melody calling out to him, wrapping around his heart like a warm blanket. Blind since birth, Ethan walked the dusty roads home from school, his cane tapping in rhythm with the whispers of his classmates. They didn't see him. They saw his blindness, their judgment sharp like shards of glass. "Look at the kid with no future," they sneered. But the music inside him battled against their ridicule, each note a sliver of light in an otherwise dim world. At the diner where his mother, Lisa, worked long hours, Ethan found his solace. The old piano sat in the corner, worn but welcoming. When he sat down, he became the maestro of his own world. Fingers dancing over the keys, he poured his soul into every song. Each note resonated with unexpressed dreams, with hopes of acceptance. Lisa would watch him from the counter, her heart swelling with pride, while a pang of fear twisted in her stomach. Would the same town that raised her shun her son when he bared his heart on stage? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that is happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who is on the other side of the screen. Now let us continue on talent show night. Ethan's heart raced. When he stepped onto the stage, the crowd quieted. Moments before he started, he felt his palms sweat and his throat tighten. But the piano called to him, the keys whispering promises of hope. As he started playing, the audience erupted in applause. His song and anthem of overcoming filled the room with soulful notes, and for a moment, everyone held their breath, lost in the magic. But as soon as his last note faded, whispers cut like icy winds. Is he even good? This is just for pity. Ethan's heart sank. The applause felt like a tainted gift, mixed with uncertainty. Huddled together, townsfolk exchanged glances of skepticism, their whispers thick in the air. Lisa watched from the sidelines, her heart aching with pride and worry. Could the town truly embrace Ethan's brilliance, or would they cling to age-old prejudices? As murmurs spread like wildfire, the showdown unfolded. The community faced a choice: accept Ethan wholly or retreat into familiar judgments. Ethan sensed their hesitation. Standing before the audience, he summoned every ounce of courage. With a deep breath, he let the music flow through him, challenging them to see beyond his blindness. Each note became a plea for understanding, for healing, for a new beginning. But as he left the stage, the applause began to fade, replaced by more murmurs of doubt. Would they embrace him, or would their fears seal his fate in silence? The tension hung heavy in the air, leaving an aching silence for what was to come. Ethan's heart pounded as he stepped off the stage, the bright lights fading behind him. He stumbled slightly, the adrenaline that had ignited him now replaced with a chilling uncertainty. The whispers crept into his mind, chilling him more than the night air ever could. Did I do enough? He thought, gripping his cane tightly. Each tap against the floor felt like it resonated with his disappointment. He didn't just want to play the piano, he wanted to connect. He wanted to touch their hearts, to show them that the beauty of music transcended what they saw or didn't see. Lisa rushed to his side, wrapping her arms around him. You were amazing, Ethan, she explained, but her voice trembled. She could sense the disappointment radiating from him like heat waves. You touched so many people out there. Did I? Ethan asked, his voice barely above a whisper. It felt like they were just waiting for me to fail. Lisa knelt beside him, her eyes searching his. You have to understand, love. Change doesn't happen overnight. They're just not used to seeing someone like you shine. But you shone up there, Ethan. You really did. Still feeling the weight of their doubt, Ethan looked over to the fading audience. Some faces wore expressions of confusion, others were indifferent, and a few were outright skeptical. His heart sank further. The acceptance he yearned for felt like an elusive dream, slipping further away with each whispered word. As they made their way out of the venue, Ethan found himself trying to block out the negativity. The stars sparkled above, oblivious to his turmoil. He closed his eyes and let the music play in his head, the melody still fresh and alive. But the doubt was louder now, echoing in his ears, a stark contrast to the harmonious rhythm of his heart. "Ethan!" called a voice from behind. It was Mr. Thompson, the school principal. "Can I talk to you for a moment?" Ethan's stomach twisted, a mix of hope and dread. Did he want to hear what the principal had to say? Of course, Ethan replied, though the uncertainty dripped from his voice. As Mr. Thompson approached, Ethan sensed the warmth in his tone. "I just wanted to say, your performance was incredible. You have a real gift, and I believe that one day, everyone in this town will see it too." "Really? You think so?" Ethan's heart dared to flutter at the praise. "I know so," Mr. Thompson continued. "But it takes time, and you'll have to be strong. You're already inspiring those who truly listen." But as they spoke, a couple of people walked past, snickering to each other, their voices laced with disbelief. "Just a gimmick. He'll never make it," one said. Ethan felt his heart drop again. The weight of the world felt heavier on his shoulders. How could he be both a miracle and a mockery? "Ethan, don't let them get to you," Mr. Thompson said, sensing his despair. "You have supporters. Stay strong and keep playing. It's not just about what they say now, but what you'll do moving forward." As Ethan and his mother made their way home, he felt the impact of the evening settle in his chest. Despite the doubt of the crowd, one voice stood out, Mr. Thompson's. It somehow echoed with hope. Back at the diner, Ethan sat at the piano again. The keys felt familiar and comforting, even in his confusion. As he started playing a new tune, letting his feelings spill onto the keys, Lisa joined him, humming softly. Together, they created magic, the world outside fading away. But beneath the surface, uncertainty bubbled. Would he have the strength to stand against the tide of judgment? And what would happen when he had to face the town again? As the last note hung in the air, Ethan knew one thing for certain: he had to find a way to make them see him. Because this was just the beginning of his journey, and he wasn't about to stop now. But what would be the price of that journey? Ethan awoke the next morning with the sun streaming through his window, a gentle warmth lighting the room. He stretched his fingers, testing the familiar casing of the melody that lingered from the night before. Music. It was his escape, the one place where doubt lost its power. But as daylight filtered in, so did the memories of the previous night. A mix of applause and skepticism swirled in his mind like an unsettling storm. After finishing breakfast, Ethan made his way to school with Lisa by his side. He felt the usual comfort of her presence, her unwavering support acting like armor against the doubts creeping in. But the moment they stepped onto the school grounds, reality struck. Students loitered outside, their conversations filled with snippets of laughter and whispers that felt like arrows aimed directly at him. "Did you see Ethan last night?" one girl exclaimed, her voice high and mocking. "Total disaster." "Yeah, it was so embarrassing," a boy added, chuckling cruelly. Ethan's heart tightened. Each word pierced him, but he kept his head high, focused on Lisa's encouraging grin. "Ignore them," she whispered, linking her arm through his. "You've got this. Just remember, you're a star." Though he smiled, a chill clutched at him. Did he really believe that? As the day wore on, Ethan struggled to concentrate. Every class felt intangible, the noise of laughter and snide remarks creating a barrier he couldn't break through. During lunch, he sat at their usual table, trying to lose himself in a conversation with friends. But the anxiety gnawed at him, amplifying the hushed giggles from the nearby table. "Ethan, can you play something for us?" Lisa blurted out, hoping to redirect attention. He hesitated, his voice just a whisper. "What if they all laugh?" "Then let them," she said fiercely, her blue eyes shining with conviction. "Show them what you can do." With her encouragement lighting a spark in him, Ethan stood up, the weight of his cane grounding him. He led the way to the small stage set up in the corner of the cafeteria. As he approached, some students turned their heads, surprise evident on their faces. "Ethan? Now?" someone called out, incredulity woven into their tone. He took a deep breath, placing his hands upon the keys, and let the music flow through him. The first notes rang out, bright and clear, slicing through the chatter and doubt that clung to the room. Eyes widened. Silence settled like snow covering the ground, each student captivated by the unexpected performance. Ethan poured every ounce of emotion into the song, using it as an outlet to fight against the negativity. With every note, he transformed his fears into melody, weaving a tapestry of hope and resilience. The crowd began to sway, some of the scornful faces shifting as the music touched them, the harmony battling against their preconceived notions. As the song came to a close, he raised his chin. For a moment, he felt like he was floating, untouchable amidst the newfound stillness. Then, spontaneous applause erupted, ringing in his ears like a sweet symphony. Several students stood, openly clapping, their faces illuminating with newfound respect. But there was still a voice in the back of his mind, a whisper of doubt reminding him that not everyone was won over. "See? You're amazing," Lisa cheered, her smile reflecting pride. But even beneath her encouragement, he searched the crowd for dissent. When he locked eyes with a group, the original mockers, their expressions were mixed confusion and grudging admiration battling within their eyes. Like a shadow, a doubt slinked back in. Did they really change? Can this be it? He wondered, the thrill of the applause still echoing. Was he just a fleeting moment for them? A curiosity soon to be forgotten? He took in his surroundings, feeling a shift in the atmosphere, but also the lurking uncertainty. As he turned, the gym doors swung open, and Mr. Thompson appeared, snapping his fingers to join the applause, his presence commanding the room. "Let us be sure to appreciate courage, determination, and talent," he boomed, his voice filling the space. Ethan felt a smile breaking across his face, but even amidst this victory, a lingering question tore at him. Had he truly made a change? What if the next performance was not received just as warmly? Would he be ready for the inevitable challenges that would come? That thought hung in the air like a note that he couldn't quite reach, a note he had yet to play. The day after the performance, a wave of anticipation washed over Ethan. He could still feel the echo of the applause, yet it was mixed with nervous energy as he walked into school. Doubts threatened to cloud his mind again. What if the applause was just a fluke? What if everyone turned back to mockery just as quickly as they cheered? As he entered the building, Lisa slipped her hand into his. "You did great, Ethan. They're still talking about you," she urged, her voice lifting him. But the hallway chatter felt heavier today. He tried to block it out, to concentrate on the soft brush of her fingers against his palm. As they turned the corner to the main hall, Ethan spotted a small group gathered near the wall, their laughter ringing out against the tiled floor. His heart skipped. He held his breath, but Lisa squeezed his hand reassuringly. "Just remember what you felt up there," she whispered. Ethan nodded but felt the familiar weight settle back on his chest, a powerful urge to retreat kicking in. Instead, he forced himself to move forward, his cane tapping lightly as he approached them. Muffled whispers reached his ears. "No way he could do it again," came a familiar voice. "Seriously, it was just luck," another added tauntingly. Suddenly, a loud clap startled everyone as Mr. Thompson walked by. "Let us be respectful, please. Talent deserves recognition, not ridicule." His voice boomed, and it felt like a warm hug. Ethan took a deep breath. Maybe, just maybe, there had been a shift since yesterday. In class, Ethan found it hard to focus. Each time he thought of the piano, a wave of exhilaration rushed over him, mixed with trepidation. After the bell rang, he made his way to his locker, heart racing. Another minute in this buzzing atmosphere, and he felt he might combust. "Ethan!" a voice called out. It was Marco, the boy who had jeered the loudest during the previous night. Ethan's stomach twisted. He turned, unsure of what to expect. "I saw you play," Marco said, hesitantly. "It wasn't as bad as I thought." Surprise flickered in Ethan's chest. "Thanks." His voice was barely audible. "I mean, it was actually kinda cool. Like real music," Marco continued, but he avoided making eye contact. With each passing moment, Ethan felt the doubt dissolve just a little more. Over the next hour, whispers began to change, gratitude coiling around him. Students approached, sharing stories about how the music had touched them. One girl spoke about how she had almost given up on singing for the school talent show. "But you made me want to try again," she exclaimed, her eyes shining. They began to ask him questions about how he played, and Ethan found his stuttered replies turning into laughter and smiles, drawing him out of his shell. It felt right. As they chattered, his heart swelled. But then came a shaky voice from the edge of the crowd. "So when are you doing it again?" It was a challenge, laced with skepticism. Confusion danced in his mind. He wanted to, yes, but could he face the possibility of falling flat? Anxiety crawled back in, heavy and persistent. Just under the surface, a silence settled over the gathered students. All eyes turned expectantly toward him. Could he let them down? Ethan inhaled deeply, searching for courage. I can do it again. "I want to," he said, voice steadying. Cheers erupted, but behind the excitement, a part of him trembled. He smiled through it, feeling a mixture of fear and exhilaration swirl within him. Maybe this was his moment to prove that the previous night wasn't just a spark. It could be a fire. But could he light that fire again? The familiar voice of doubt crept back in, whispering about the uncertainty ahead. As Ethan made his way to the music room, a determined pulse thrummed in his veins. Would he find the courage to turn that doubt into melody once more? Ethan stepped into the music room, a familiar warmth enveloping him. The soft sheen of the grand piano caught his eye, and his heart raced at the thought of playing again. But would it be worth it? The echo of applause faded in the distance, leaving whispers of fear and insecurity. He approached the piano, every tap of his cane grounding him. The air shifted, heavy with his thoughts. What if it's just a one-time thing? He muttered under his breath. The sunlight streaming through the window glinted on the keys, illuminating them as if they were calling to him. "Hey, do you need help with something?" Lisa's voice floated through the door like sunlight on a fresh morning. Ethan jumped slightly, startled but relieved. "No, I'm okay. Just thinking." He offered a weak smile. Lisa stepped inside, her enthusiasm brightening the room. "You gotta warm up. Let us hear you play again. You've got fans now." "Fans?" Ethan chuckled nervously. He imagined faces beaming with expectation. "Of course. Everyone's talking about you. They want to know when you'll perform next," she encouraged. "You made them feel something special. Remember that?" He ran his fingers over the keys, letting the familiar texture calm his racing heart. Still, his fingers hesitated. What if he let everyone down? What if the music didn't come out like last time? Sometimes you just gotta let go, Lisa said softly, squeezing his shoulder. Trust yourself. Taking a deep breath, Ethan pressed down on the keys. The first chord resonated through the quiet room, rich and full of life. Goosebumps prickled on his arms as he began to play. Notes cascaded around him, wrapping him in a warm embrace. Each melody carried him higher, lifting the weight of uncertainty from his shoulders. He lost track of time. When he finally stopped, his heart raced, and a sense of euphoria washed over him. See? You still have it. Lisa beamed, her eyes sparkling. But the surge of elation faded when a thought crept in. Was it enough? Would everyone lose interest once the novelty wore off? Play something for everyone, Lisa suggested. Remind them how incredible you are? What if he started, but the words caught in his throat? Every what if was another brick in the wall he was desperately trying to break down. Ethan. Lisa's voice softened. You've already conquered so much. Show them you're still here. Show yourself. He turned to the piano again, determination coursing through him. He felt the crowd in his mind, the faces, the cheers. Slowly, a new melody flowed from his fingers like water, capturing everything he feared and everything he hoped for. As each note filled the room, he felt lighter. The keys sang. They sang his dreams, his challenges, his victories, and his fears. He was not just a boy at a piano. He was a storyteller, weaving tales through every inspiring note. But the moment didn't last forever. As he played, he caught sight of his reflection in the piano's surface and wondered if he could maintain this balance between joy and fear. Just then, the doorknob rattled. The music faded as the door swung open. A different crowd poured in, many of the students he'd seen before, their expressions a mix of excitement and awe. Ethan, play more! One shouted. We want to hear you! His heart pounded in his chest. Could he rise to the occasion? Could this be the moment all his doubts were proven wrong? All eyes were on him, waiting. The thrill and anxiety mingled, a tangible force in the room. Could he deliver once more? As he prepared to play again, a single thought echoed in his mind. Was he ready to face this challenge and truly embrace who he was meant to be? What would it take to transform fear into freedom? Ethan sat at the piano, surrounded by those eager faces. The air was thick with expectation. He could feel their eyes drilling into him, pressing against his skin like the weight of the world. He took a deep breath, inhaling the scent of polished wood and yearning dreams. Okay, Ethan. You got this, he whispered to himself. His fingers trembled as they hovered above the keys. The moment felt electric, tinged with a vulnerability that was almost overwhelming. Play anything. Just let it out. Lisa pushed him gently, her presence a buoy in the restless sea of his nerves. Taking another grounding breath, Ethan closed his eyes, letting the warmth of the moment wash over him. With a steadying touch, he began to play. The first notes tumbled out, raw and unfiltered, splashing against the walls of the room like uncontainable laughter. Slowly, he began to feel their energy, the connection pulling him closer to the crowd. He imagined they were inside his mind, swirling around him, pushing him to go deeper. The music flowed freely, each note spinning a thread of emotion, binding him with his audience. The melody spoke of hope, fear, and the sheer beauty of resilience. Ethan could hear their reactions, a collective breath held, the synchronized nodding. He smiled to himself, feeling emboldened. While he played, the worries of judgment faded. It wasn't about showmanship anymore. It was about truth. His truth.as, he reached a crescendo, tension hung in the air. This was the moment he had longed for. Every would have melted away, replaced by a certainty of presence. The room transformed into a sanctuary, their faces a sea of understanding and encouragement. Then, As he delivered the final flourish of the piece, it happened. A stillness enveloped the crowd, an almost sacred moment of silence before an explosion of applause erupted like fireworks in the night sky. Ethan's eyes flew open, breath caught in his throat. The sound of clapping penetrated the euphoria, crashing against him with the weight of affection. He felt tears prick at the corners of his eyes, a mixture of joy and relief washing over him. "See? What did I tell you?" Lisa shouted over the applause, a wide grin on her face. "You did it." He glanced at her, the warmth of her support igniting something within him. This was more than just applause, it was acceptance. With every cheer, they were affirming that he wasn't just different, he was extraordinary. But amidst this triumph, a flicker of doubt reared its head. Could he do it again? Could he recreate this magic, or was it all a fleeting moment? The thrill from the applause faded a bit, replaced by the nagging thought of whether he could sustain this new version of himself. "Play another. Do another song." Someone shouted from the back, a surge of enthusiasm spreading across the crowd. The energy in the room shifted. Ethan's heart raced again. Could he rise to the challenge? Was he capable of diving back into the ocean of sounds and emotions so soon after surfacing for air? His fingers brushed lightly against the keys again, uncertain, but driven by an insatiable hunger to share more. There was a voice inside whispering that this was only the beginning. But just as he prepared to let the next song emerge, the door creaked open again, and a familiar face appeared. Mr. Collins, the head of the music department, his expression unreadable. The room quieted as all eyes shifted toward him, the anticipation palpable. Ethan's heart lurched. What would Mr. Collins say? Would he see the same light that Ethan felt? Or would his presence shatter the moment like glass? In that charged silence, Ethan found himself wondering deeper. What if this was a crossroads, a moment of truth where fear could either cripple him or catapult him further into his journey? Would he dare to embrace the next step, whatever it might hold? Ethan felt the weight of the room as Mr. Collins stepped further inside. The applause started to fade, replaced by the collective intake of breath. The air felt electric, charged with possibilities and uncertainties. Would Mr. Collins recognize the change in him? The tall figure approached the piano, his presence commanding yet somehow soft. Ethan's mind raced. Was this man, usually so stern, prepared to offer affirmation or criticism? "Ethan," Mr. Collins began, his voice steady. That was remarkable. The warmth in his tone relaxed the tension in Ethan's shoulders. He dared to look up. The sternness he often perceived seemed to evaporate before him. Mr. Collins continued, "Your ability to connect emotionally through your music is extraordinary. I think you should consider showcasing more of this talent." The crowd burst into murmurs of approval, and this time, joy surged through Ethan. He felt the hope rise, like a balloon lifting him off the ground. But something held him back. Showcase more? Like the weight of expectation fell on him like a heavy blanket. Like perhaps participating in the upcoming talent showcase at the auditorium, Mr. Collins suggested, his expression serious but encouraging. "You have a gift, Ethan. It deserves to be shared beyond these walls." Ethan's mind spun in circles. A talent showcase? The kind of thing that made his insides twist back when he was younger? But hesitation was met with promise. What if this was his chance to truly be seen? Play something else. Lisa encouraged again, her cheers bubbling with excitement. The crowd shifted once more, rekindling the buzz of shared anticipation. Ethan glanced over at her. He saw the hope mirrored in her eyes, the belief that he could do this. With Mr. Collins' words ringing in his ears, a fire ignited. "Okay, let us do this," he said more to himself than anyone else. A simple declaration of intent. His fingers found the keys again. The room transformed, possibly even more electric than before. Uncertainty swirled within him. But now it was accompanied by a newfound excitement. As he struck the first chords, he wove a different tale, this one filled with longing and a strange sense of freedom. Each note emerged from a quiet place inside him he hadn't known existed. It was as if the weight of everyone else's expectations, rather than crushing him, now propelled him forward. Ethan's eyes fell closed again. He tuned into the rhythm, allowing his body to guide him, surrendering to the music as it poured from his soul, and with it came stories untold. The crowd encircled him, carrying the melody higher. He felt their vibrations, their hearts racing along with him, their enthusiasm feeding his confidence. Laughter, tears, hope, all of it mingled in the sound. As he reached the climax of the song, his breath caught in his chest again, a delicate moment teetering between chaos and beauty. He poured everything he could into those final chords, leaving nothing untouched. The applause was thunderous, drowning out his thoughts, as he opened his eyes to the crowd's rapture. Their faces were lit up with joy. Their support was tangible. Then the distinct sound of Mr. Collins's voice broke through the cheers. "Ethan, this could be the start of something incredible." A myriad of emotions crashed over him. Excitement and fear danced together, entangled in his heart. What if I fail? He wondered, a quiet, haunting whisper that threatened to pull him down. Ethan, you can't let fear dictate your journey. Lisa's voice floated to him, igniting a flicker of resolve inside. But the glimmer of doubt was still there. This was an opportunity. But what if the reality of the stage became too overwhelming? What if he made mistakes? And just as he wrestled with these thoughts, the lights dimmed suddenly, and another figure entered the room, opening the door wider. His father, who had remained silent until now. The operating table of Ethan's emotions tipped precariously, as the familiar visage cast shadows of both comfort and apprehension. Ethan, his father's voice caught through the haze, revealing intentions buried deep. There it was, the final moment of tension that held the key to everything. Would he find courage in this opportunity? And what would his father's support reveal about the path ahead? Ethan's heart raced. The words hung between them like fragile glass, threatening to shatter under the weight of unsaid thoughts. He could see the concern etched on his father's face, a mix of pride and worry that mingled in the air around him. "Dad?" Ethan's voice came out soft, almost a whisper. His father stepped closer, scanning the room for any traces of disapproval. Instead, he found the beaming faces of students and faculty, all of whom had just witnessed the unveiling of a talent he had long hoped his son would discover. The uncertainty in the air felt like a grounded promise, but Ethan remained trapped between fear and the vivid pull of opportunity. "I wanted to tell you how proud I am," his father started, a tremor in his voice that suggested layers of emotion he struggled to convey. "That was beautiful, son." The rush of warmth in those words sent a rush through Ethan, igniting both hope and anxiety. "But what if I mess up?" he admitted, almost helplessly. "Everyone messes up. What matters is how you handle it." "You won't be alone up there," Mr. Collins chimed in, putting a reassuring hand on Ethan's shoulder. "You've got your friends, your family, and your music." Ethan let those words permeate the doubt that clung to him. Lisa's cheerful face flashed in his mind. He could feel the connection they shared, the belief she had in him. Perhaps Mr. Collins was right. This could be more than just an opportunity. It could be a breakthrough. "So what do you say?" His father's eyes burned with an intensity that pierced through Ethan's fog. "Do you want to do it?" The question hung heavy, a pendulum swinging between safety and unknown futures. The spotlight felt brighter now, illuminating not just fear but possibility. Ethan glanced around, taking in the faces of his classmates who were bursting with excitement. A soft chorus of encouragement wafted up, like music floating on the breeze. Yeah, I want to do it," Ethan finally said, strength lacing his words. The finality of his voice surprised even him, a declaration that blossomed from the depths of doubt. The room erupted again, but this time it felt different. It was no longer just applause. It was a wave of support that washed over him, leaving him both anchored and floating. He took a deep breath, ready to embrace the unknown. A moment later, Lisa burst through the crowd, her smile electrifying. "I knew you'd say yes," she explained, bouncing on her heels. "We're going to make this amazing. I'll help you, every step of the way." Ethan couldn't help but smile back, feeling emboldened by her enthusiasm. "What should I play?" he asked, feeling the urge to plan ahead. "Something from the heart," Lisa said, her voice firm with conviction. "Show everyone how you feel. They need to see you." He pondered her words as fleeting visions danced in his mind, fragments of melodies tethered to emotions he hadn't fully grasped yet. And then came the itch to write. Ideas flooded in. With a spark of inspiration lighting up his chest, he saw new possibilities emerge. This could be more than just a showcase. This could be an exploration of everything he felt inside. As the crowd continued to buzz around him, Ethan felt a gentle pat on his back. He turned to find Mr. Collins watching him, pride etched in every detail of his expression. "I believe in you, Ethan," Mr. Collins said quietly, as if sealing a secret pact between them. Ethan nodded, drinking in the moment. Every inch of him wanted to believe that everything was possible, that the future he feared might instead be a canvas for the songs trapped inside him. But as that exhilarating thrill coursed through him, another thought niggled at the back of his mind. What if showcasing his raw emotion revealed vulnerability he wasn't ready to confront? Standing there, with all eyes on him and uncertain visions before him, Ethan knew the next chapter of his life was about to unfold. The question lingered, could a single performance truly change everything? And what awaited him on the other side? Ethan felt the weight of the moment. With each passing second, the anticipation tightened around him like a coil ready to spring. Lisa's eyes sparkled with excitement, and the whispers of encouragement from his classmates felt like gentle winds urging him forward. "All right, we need to start brainstorming," Lisa said, her energy infectious. "What do you want your song to say? What's in your heart?" He closed his eyes, letting the world fade away, diving deep into the swirling thoughts and emotions that had been echoing in his mind. Music had always been his escape, a way to navigate the maze of his feelings. Now, he had to put those feelings into words and melodies. "I want it to be about," he hesitated, the enormity of the task rushing in. "About finding your voice, even when you can't see the path ahead. Like, believing in yourself even when you don't know what is coming." Lisa nodded, clearly appreciating the sentiment. "That is beautiful, Ethan. It's raw and real. We'll make it shine." Ethan leaned into her encouragement. The truth was, the stage felt daunting. Any moment spent in the spotlight revealed the fears and uncertainties that tangled in his heart. What if he failed? What if he stood there frozen, unable to remember the lyrics, the melody, or even his purpose? Yet the warmth of those around him, the trust especially from his father, kept nudging him toward hope. This was it. This was his chance to turn fear into something vibrant and alive. He found a worn notebook buried in his backpack. He opened it, its pages filled with fragments of thoughts and lines jotted down during late-night sessions spent with his guitar. "Let us write together," he said, flipping to a blank page. Lisa leaned in, her chin resting on her hand, a soft smile completing her focus. "I'll help you shape it." After discussing a few themes, Ethan picked up the pencil. The words began to flow. It surprised him how easily they burst forth, raw and honest. "Sometimes it feels like darkness wraps around me. I can't see the stars, but I can still feel them," he mumbled, pouring his heart onto the page. Lisa beamed. "Yes. Keep going." Slowly, his fear began to dissolve into melody. He pictured the audience, strangers, friends, and everyone who had ever believed in him. He thought of Mr. Collins, showing him the way, and Lisa, who stood beside him like sunshine on a cloudy day. Hours slipped by as they crafted the song, blending Ethan's heartfelt lyrics with a delicate, hopeful tune that felt like it might lift off the page. But as the sun began to set outside, a shadow crept back into his mind. What if his vulnerabilities were laid bare for all to see? Would they feel what he was trying to express? "Hey," Lisa interrupted his spiraling thoughts. She pointed to the title they'd scribbled at the top of the page. "This is incredible. You're going to touch people, Ethan. Trust that." "Yeah, but what if they see all my fears too?" he admitted, his voice shaky. "Then they'll connect with you," she replied, unwavering. "Everyone has fears. That's what makes you human. Your courage will inspire them." Those words sank deep, like a light piercing through his doubts. Maybe, just maybe, sharing his journey would connect him with the world around him. As night enveloped the sky, Ethan glanced at the finished lyrics laid out before him. The rhythm pulsed with life, every note echoing his truth. He took a deep breath and smiled. "Let us practice tomorrow," he said, feeling a thrill of excitement replace some of the fear. "Absolutely," Lisa grinned. "And remember, you're not alone." But just as his heart swelled with anticipation for the performance, another thought clouded his mind. What if, during that moment on stage, he couldn't find the courage he needed? And with that lingering doubt, Ethan stared towards the horizon, wondering if this performance would truly reveal everything he had been carrying. The unfolding journey awaited him, but would he be ready to embrace it? The day of the talent showcase arrived, bright and breezy, with the warmth of the sun promising a new beginning. Ethan awoke with a flutter of excitement mixed with nerves. Today felt different. Today was his moment. As he prepared, the echoes of laughter from classmates faded into a pleasant buzz in the back of his mind. He dressed with purpose, letting each piece of clothing remind him of the support around him. Lisa had insisted on a new shirt, saying it would boost his confidence. Standing in front of the mirror, he felt a spark of flicker of hope igniting within. When they arrived at the auditorium, the sounds of chatter mixed with the rustle of programs filled the air. Ethan took in the sights, the vibrant lights, the stage, the rows upon rows of faces gathered to watch. Each face was a mix of excitement, skepticism, and support. This time, he wouldn't let doubt sneak in. He had a song to share, a truth to reveal. As he sat behind the grand piano, the weight of his cane replaced with a sense of purpose, Ethan closed his eyes for a brief moment. Memories of the past few weeks flooded through him, the whispers of doubt, the audience's judgment, yet the immeasurable love from his mother and newfound friends. That love felt like an armor. It shielded him and bolstered him. As the spotlight flickered to life, the stage manager signaled, "Please welcome our next performer, Ethan." A wave of applause washed over him as he adjusted his position. Ethan took a shaky breath. Glancing towards where Lisa sat, her encouraging smile locked eyes with his. It anchored him. He could feel the shift. The fears he held on to began to recede. Like a tide pulling away from the shore. He began to play. The first notes flowed from his fingertips, clear and unencumbered. It felt like a revelation. Each chord, each word, sang of his journey, of fear and hope intertwined. As his voice echoed through the hall, he spoke of resilience, dreams, and the power of believing in oneself even against the odds. The crowd transformed as the song unfolded. Faces turned from skepticism to curiosity, to reflection. The melody carried the message straight to their hearts. He poured everything into it, his pain, his victories, and the unwavering bond he shared with Lisa, his guiding light. When he reached the chorus, the culmination of all his hard work and emotion, the audience was silent, hanging on every word, every note. Ethan lost himself in the music, letting it wrap around him like a warm embrace, like the safety of home. Then, the final note hung in the air like a promise of acceptance, love, and hope. It escaped his lips, and as silence enveloped the auditorium, Ethan opened his eyes. The transformation around him was breathtaking. Applause erupted, echoing throughout the halls. Cheers bounced off the walls, wrapping around him, lifting him higher. Amidst the cheers, he spotted Mr. Collins standing at the front, beaming with pride. He saw Marco, his transformation evident as he grinned wide. Lisa's tears sparkled as she wiped them away, her joy spilling over. Ethan felt a warmth spread through him, far deeper than applause. It was connection. At that moment, he realized what mattered, not whether they saw his blindness, but if they could see his spirit. "Thank you." He breathed into the microphone, half in disbelief, half in pure joy. "Thank you for listening." The cheering grew louder. Students were on their feet, clapping and shouting encouragement, their voices blended into a harmonious celebration of acceptance. As he stepped off the stage, a rush of adrenaline coursed through him. Lisa rushed to embrace him, her arms wrapping tightly around him. "You did it. You showed them. They see you." Ethan's heart swelled. "I felt them. I really felt them." As the crowd began to disperse, there was a sense of unity in the air. One more voice approached him. It was Marco, nervously shuffling his feet, but wearing a genuine smile. "Dude, that was awesome. Like, seriously? You really killed it up there." "Thanks," Ethan replied, surprised by the sincerity in Marco's tone. With newfound confidence, he took a moment to look at everyone around him, friends, family, and even the tough crowd of classmates. Maybe change takes time, he thought, but it's worth the wait. In that moment, surrounded by cheers and encouragement, Ethan knew this was only the beginning. He had transformed from being merely a boy with a piano to a voice in a community that now recognized the strength of difference. And during that journey together, they would rise, learn, and weave a tale of acceptance and inspiration. Ethan smiled, a radiant smile filled with hope and newfound strength. His music would continue to accompany him, illuminating each hidden corner of his spirit, a beacon of light for others, guiding them toward their own dreams. And just like that, Ethan embraced his truth, standing proudly as a symbol of courage, determination, and the incredible power of music. Now was the time to fully take flight. If this story has touched you, then it's crucial to support the journey forward. You need to subscribe now to the channel, so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that inspire and uplift. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your click truly matters and sparks even more meaningful tales. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this amazing ending. Your voices contribute to the growing community we love. And please, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to hear Ethan's journey. Don't wait not even one more second. It's people like you who understand the importance of spreading hope and transformation.